Coming up, a Sad Styles production. Get into it!
So, Andrew, when we started FeBOOary,
Yeah.
we were on a journey of discovery.
Yeah, we were.
We
Yeah.
wanted to know, I want to know what love is.
Yeah.
And we did talk about Dream Daddy, but I feel like the writing was a little bit silly. I still don't feel like I know what love is.
Based on Dream Daddy?
Based on Dream Daddy.
Right.
I need to further understand
Okay.
what love is.
Okay, and how do you think we can do that?
Well, I think we just need to do something. We can do another dating sim because I think that's where the knowledge is going to come from.
Sure.
It's got to be from a dating sim.
Okay, yeah.
But we need to ground ourselves a little bit. We gotta leave the silliness off the board.
Okay.
I need to know a real way to connect to other human beings. Are you
Right.
on board with this, Andrew?
Yeah, I am. And you want to do this through a dating simulator, right?
It has to be through a dating sim. That's the only way. It's either I ask ChatGPT or I play a dating simulator. Otherwise, I don't know how I'm supposed to find out what love means.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, meeting people and talking to. Yeah, not good. Okay, all right, well, that's fine. Dating simulator it is. Well, it is a video game podcast after all. So,
Sorry,
I've heard there's like a lot of the D-pads online have been telling us this is my favorite dating simulator.
Yeah.
There's some really good ones out there.
Yeah.
So which one do you want to go with today?
Well, I think we have no other choice but to review I Love You, Colonel Sanders, a finger lickin' good dating sim this week on the Retrograde Podcast.
That's a real one? I thought that was a joke.
There's nothing funny about Colonel Sanders looking hot, baby.
Welcome to the Retrograde
Video game podcast where this week we try to fuck Colonel Sanders.
It's just as simple as that. My name's Andrew Bascom. With me as always is the bad boy of podcasting, Mr. Bebop himself.
Michael A. Revin, Herbs and Spices worth.
Smooth.
Michael, I said.
Yeah, you said Michael.
Why did I say that?
You're very formal because you're talking to the Colonel.
Well, I got to ingratiate myself towards him. I have to impress the Colonel.
Stolen valor, eh? Never served in the military?
How do you know?
No, he didn't.
Colonel Sanders didn't?
I know a few things about Colonel Sanders. First name, Harland, which is actually brought up in the game.
Is Colonel Sanders a real person?
Yes.
I always thought he was just like, let's take a picture of this old fuck with a goatee.
No, he was like okay, so Colonel Sanders, this is as far as I know about it. Man, I should have done more research before I said, I know a lot about Colonel Sanders and then talked into a microphone. So he only founded Kentucky Fried Chicken like late in his life, like in his 60s. His whole life had been kind of like an abject failure, just trying stuff, failing.
I can relate to that so far.
Oh, 100%.
This is great.
It's kind of like Abraham Lincoln. And just trying stuff, failing. He actually had lived in our hometown that we're recording in right now.
Toronto?
Yeah, he lived in Toronto for a short bit. It was later in his life in his 60s, and he became kind of like he was like a Barnum and Bailey type character. You know what I mean? Yeah, he sold his likeness with Kentucky Fried Chicken. Also, he wasn't that popular by the time he sold it. Like it became like the mega national.
Like Tim Horton.
Like Tim Horton, yeah, absolutely.
Tim Horton was a hockey player.
Yes.
For those people who don't know.
Yes.
Opened up a coffee shop, sold it for pennies on the dollar, and now it's one of the more popular restaurants in the world.
Well, it's kind of, Tim Hortons is kind of nuts. That's the only reason we bring that up is because it's like, whatever the local chain for you is, that's our local chain, and now you can find it all over the world.
It's all over the world now. Yeah. Well, listen, if you're new to this podcast, first of all, thanks for listening. We are your two favorite video game journalists that you may not have ever heard of, and this week we're going to be taking a look as I drop my phone. I spike it on the ground. Why was that so funny?
We'll figure this out, I don't know, 400 more episodes later. We'll get this down, I promise.
This week we're continuing the theme of FeBOOary. It's our used to be the scariest month of the year. Now it's just our dating sim themed month.
Scary for a different reason.
Scary for a very
It used to be scary
reason.
like boo scary. Now it's and now it's scary like my heart.
Oh. It used to be scary like now it's scary like
Yeah, scary like I'm scared I might have a heart attack. Now it's scary like my heart is breaking into a hypothetical million pieces. Yeah.
Now it used to be scary like, oh my God, there's a ghost, and now it's scary of ghosts of girlfriends past.
27 goblins. Now it's 27 dresses. Captain Heigl haunts me.
Used to be
that works for both reasons.
Used to be crazy people are trying to kill me. Now it's crazy stupid love. It's a great movie.
I hate that movie. And it's so
I hate
funny.
that take of yours, by the way.
I know, and people love that movie. Love that.
It's a great movie.
Yep,
that's why they love it.
Yep, there we go.
So you're admitting you're wrong.
No, I would never.
Andrew,
do that.
say it to the camera.
I would never do that.
I got
About
a camera
anything.
there. I got a camera over there.
Whoa,
I got a camera over there.
Can you take a seat? Whoa.
No, we're taking a look this week. We're continuing our dating sim themed month. Obviously, we did Dream Daddy in the first week. We did our top 5 gaming crushes of all time.
Yes.
The second week, this week, it's I Love You, Colonel Sanders, a finger licking good dating sim, which, yes, is actually a real game. It was put out by KFC in
2015.
In what's that?
In 2015.
I thought it was 2017.
I'm helping you.
I thought it was 2017.
It was a 2017?
No, sorry, 2019.
What?
Yeah, developed by PsyOp in 2019.
Okay, I
so,
disagree.
okay, here's the thing.
And I won't admit I'm wrong.
No, and I understand that. So I'm just going to say this to you, and then we'll edit it after. I do appreciate you trying to help. Like, seriously.
Good.
I like it.
It won't stop me from trying.
No, it helps me because sometimes we all need help.
Okay, well, that's nice.
Sometimes, though,
yeah,
you can actually get in the way when you're like, hey.
I thought you were going to drop your phone again. And I was like, no, I'm going to help him. Just, we'll throw in a placeholder now. Maybe we'll record something later and go 2019.
All I was doing when I dropped my phone was an impression of your mom after you were born.
Oh, she dropped me?
Yeah.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
Probably smoked, drank during the whole pregnancy as well.
She delivered you herself with one hand.
She never smoked before or after the pregnancy.
Just during labor.
I thought I'd start now.
No, it was developed by PsyOp in 2019. It was PsyOp was an interesting company. I looked them up. They've done other kind of dating sim or like low-key games in tandem with advertisers. Most recently, they announced a Dead by Daylight dating sim that they're working on. They announced that in 2022. I don't know how that's going to work.
Interesting.
But maybe they become like the, God, what's the name of the game company that does like Walking Dead and Telltale, like the Telltale game of dating sims. Well done, Andrew.
Thank you. I thought I wasn't supposed to help. Sorry. I'll shut up now. If you're not watching, I'm rolling my eyes.
No, Andrew, like, so here's the thing.
You probably hear that.
Here's the thing. Like, yeah, you do have very wet eyes.
I do. That's been established.
That's been established. Like I said, like, I do appreciate your help.
Yeah.
And there you did help me.
Yeah.
So
but only do it when I'm right.
Yeah. You need to know.
I'm so confident about 2015. Too.
You need to. No, I know. And it was very disheartening to me.
Oh, really?
It really threw me for a loop. I almost dropped my phone again.
Oh God, don't do that.
Please don't make me
greasing up your phone before you start recording.
But I've been eating all this fried chicken, Andrew.
Yeah. Okay, seriously, do you like Kentucky Fried Chicken?
Here's the weird thing.
Okay. For you or for everybody else?
Oh, there's a lot of weird things for me.
Yeah,
no, in terms of my relationship to Kentucky Fried Chicken pre this game.
Okay. A thesis by Mike Aaron.
I, as a kid, did not love Kentucky Fried Chicken. Okay. I didn't love fried chicken. I loved the skin. Yeah. But I didn't like everything else that came with it. Recently, I've rediscovered a love of fried chicken.
Right.
And recently, KFC seems to have been putting on this crazy marketing push where their billboards are everywhere and they're knocking it out of the park. They have a giant billboard that goes up in places in Toronto, so I'm sure it's going out in places other in the world, where it's just like the top rim of a bowl of chicken.
Oh.
And you could just see the chicken at the top. Have you seen these ones yet?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it looks delicious. So I've been craving Kentucky Fried Chicken lately.
Yeah, so I think I only had it once or twice when I was a kid ever. And I think, to be honest, we had it probably together. Because there just wasn't one in the area that I grew up in.
Right.
Otherwise, I probably would have.
Right.
And I also think but now, like fried chicken, oh man, ubiquitous. It's everywhere, right? Everyone has a favorite fried chicken spot. And I think also like Popeyes came in with that sandwich and ate their lunch, and now Kentucky Fried Chicken and the Colonel is pissed off.
You mean the Double Down?
No.
Or was the
Popeyes famous chicken sandwich that got everyone in riots and shit like that. It was Have you not heard about that at all? This was like 4 years ago.
No.
Oh, wow. Okay. Have you ever been to Popeyes?
4 years ago, I was busy prepping for COVID.
Yeah. I was digging a hole, buying canned beans.
All the toilet paper in the world. I went through it in the first week.
I promise you this was a big story. This is not one of those things I'm making up. Not like 2015.
Back in 2015, yeah.
Back in 2015, Popeye sandwich came out and it shocked the world. So I think Kentucky Fried Chicken's on its heels. And I think this is a large part of why they try and do stuff like this. Of like, they rebranded the Colonel to be like a modern celebrity, like Reba McEntire. Yeah. That's the first one. Okay, Rob Riggle was one, whatever. And I think stuff like this was like the reach out portion of like, ooh, we don't want to think that our branding's old and stuff like that. So why don't we release a dating sim?
Do you think in general their branding has been good or bad? Like they're clearly trying hard.
I think their branding's fantastic.
I agree. A lot of people shit on the fact that they're constantly like changing new kernels and really trying to stay relevant. Yes. But like, even when it's a miss, we notice it, and that's keeping them in public consciousness.
No, absolutely. The black, white, and the red, the bucket, like it's iconic. Like it's one of those ones that even if so maybe the downside of this is like, even if I don't go eat there, I could pick it out of a lineup and go like, well, that's Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Yeah, but then you better wash your hands after you pick it out of a lineup because those chickens are greasy.
Well, I'm not gonna wash my hands. I'm gonna.
Oh, you're gonna lick
I'm
them.
Gonna lick them.
That's why
I disgusted a lot of people on the podcast right now just by putting
that was, by the way, Andrew was blinking with his wet eyes. That was not him.
Yeah, exactly. My chameleon-like wet eyes, my Steve Buscemi style eyes.
So this, the eyes of a firefighter.
Do you know he was a firefighter before 9/11? And then on 9/11 helped it. It's like everyone's like, yeah, no, I know.
Yeah, we know. Yeah,
it's like the big one in football is always Ryan Fitzpatrick went to Harvard. Yeah, I know. It's the first thing people bring up.
Yeah. So this game, obviously, we mentioned came out in 2019, not 2015. Developed by Psyop. Okay. It is quite literally a dating sim.
Yes.
About you trying to court. Yeah, kind of.
I was gonna say it's. Okay, well, I'm sorry. Explain the premise, and then I'll have an issue with that.
The premise they sell you on is that you're essentially trying to date Colonel Sanders. Although even in the description, they don't quite say that.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
It's the unspoken premise of the game. They sexify the Colonel.
Holy smokes!
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Okay, I got to stop you a bunch of times here.
We're just gonna get into it.
We're just gonna talk about it.
Similar to the Dream Daddy episode, we're gonna talk about our experiences playing through I Love You, Colonel Sanders.
Were we Dream Daddies again? I didn't even realize this. Childless Dream Daddies.
Well, I think you could have been. They don't give you much information about your player character in this game.
At all.
Yeah.
Whereas opposed to like Dream Daddy, at least you could give yourself a name.
Yes.
Because they need something to fill blanks. But nothing about your character, your backstory, what you look like, anything.
Yeah.
Okay, so they very much sexify
the Colonel.
The Colonel. He's
Harold?
No. What? Now I'm screwed it up.
Andrew, you just said it.
I just said it.
Go Harland.
Thank you.
Like Williams.
Yes. Of course, the more famous of the Harlands. Well, probably. So he's very young.
Yes.
Still has shockingly white hair.
It is as white as the day is young.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
Sure, it sounded good though.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the day is okay. And he's got
white as a white sand beach.
Sure. As the fresh laid powder of snow.
Or
of everyone's favorite bag of cocaine.
Yes. As white as a hot sheet of printer paper, fresh out of the copier, but it actually didn't copy anything. It was just a blank sheet because you had the original copy flipped the wrong way.
Right. Okay. White as the foam on a latte.
Well, I put cinnamon on my foam.
Do you really?
So
you would.
Yeah, of course I would.
I'm a fancy boy. I like luxury. But he still has the weird facial hair.
Yes.
The glasses. He's in a white suit.
Yes.
Everything about that is fine, except he is very much. I don't know what is a comparable look to him.
He's like a Japanese anime character.
Yeah, he looks like he's in BTS.
Yes. Yeah. 100%. The whole aesthetic of this game is very much like you would find it in the anime section of Netflix.
100%.
I don't spend a ton of time there, but that's what I pictured this would have come from.
And there's so many things that you recognize, like the background screen or the loading screen in between interstitials is chicken and biscuits.
Yeah, hell
but
yeah.
Like cartoon style, and they're floating around with hearts and stuff.
They look pretty good.
They do look pretty good. And what I will say is that throughout the game, sprinkled in is so many references to menu items from Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Of course. Which
I will say go from very heavy-handed to like, oh, that's not so bad. Like when you wake up in the morning, you have to grab a biscuit and get going. But it's like a very small line that just keeps going and you're like, nice, okay.
And every time you get something where you're very blatantly being advertised to, you got to understand, you got this game for free.
Yeah.
You invited it into your house like a vampire. It's going to suck a bit of your blood. What do you expect?
Yeah, did we mention that? It's free?
It is free.
It's free.
It's on Steam. I'm sure it's available online somewhere as well, but you can get it on Steam. It's available on PC and Mac.
Right.
You played it on Mac?
Yes.
I played it on PC.
Uh-huh.
And
what point are you trying to make here?
Well, I'm just saying that Andrew is he has a Mac. He's one of them.
Yeah.
It's just weird.
I know.
In this day and age, to still have a Mac.
Really, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And a video game podcast?
Yeah, well, that part of it, yes.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Yes. The fact that I'm on a gaming podcast and I don't have a PC, which means I just don't game on my computer.
Which is fine, because I never gamed on my computer until Overwatch. That was it.
Yeah.
But now I do.
And you built your PC for that reason,
I did.
right?
I did. I built it. And not just buying parts. Like I actually created chips myself from scratch. I just dumped Doritos into a box and attached a screen to it. And I'm like, these chips aren't working.
Stark built this in a cave. What do you, now that you don't play Overwatch, what do you use the computer for?
Well, pornography first and foremost.
This has become a mostly pornography vessel.
This is a vessel. No, but I do anytime there's a first person shooter that I want to play, like my preferred platform now is PC for that. Wow. So I do still play some games on it. But let's get into kind of the meat and potatoes of this game. We'll start with this. Do you want to start with some viewer reviews to kind of set the stage?
Oh, sure.
And also some Steam reviews. There's some good ones out there. So I went there. This game, and it's hard to tell if it's ironic reviews or not. I mean, some of them very clearly are on Steam, but it has a very positive rating. That's like the determination of the. They take all the reviews and they lean heavily towards very positive on Steam. So it has a lot of positive reviews.
Yeah.
Over 11,000 reviews. So a lot of people playing this game. I'm going to read a couple of them for you.
Please do.
The Brawn Chains. That's the person's name. Gave it a thumbs up. Review. I'm so fucking sorry, Mom. That's a good one. Genesis is the person's name. Thumbs up. Colonel Sanders made me gay.
Okay.
Another one.
Well, that's good. Yeah.
1001 Skittles. Thumbs up. We love this game, ironically, but we hate Colonel Sanders. We are walking on eggshells with this man, and it is horrendously sickening. If one says the slightest offensive thing, i.e., your chicken is good, but I've tasted better, he will turn on you and hate you for life. Secondly, he does not care about us at all. We break our hand, burn our eyelashes, are stomped on by his own horse, and he does not care at all. Colonel Sanders is a toxic dirtbag who looks either 27 or 55. Disgusting. That was my favorite review that I read.
Well, yeah, that's giving you a little insight into what it's like to play this game.
Yes.
Do you want to try and go through the story somehow?
We gotta go through the story somehow. And the last thing I'll say on the review front is most of the negative reviews, if you're like scrolling through on Steam, are just it's either negative, no sex, not enough sex, no sex scene.
Oh no!
Yeah, so that's what people were looking for.
I also didn't leave this game going like, I'm really pissed I didn't have sex. I'm more like, thank God I didn't have sex.
Yeah, he does seem like a dirtbag. I kind of align with 1001 Skittles leaving that review.
I know. I don't know. I feel like Miriam's mistreatment is like not spoken enough about. I will also say, didn't it get like 50% on Metacritic? Like this might just be Steam's favorable
I think so.
algorithm.
I think so. But here, okay, so
that's like on everything on the PlayStation Store or the Xbox Store is always over 4.5 stars.
Yes.
Nothing is ever like 2.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I wonder what the lowest rated game on Xbox Marketplace
sounds
is.
like
That sounds like an episode for sure. I'm going to make a note of that. Let's go through the characters here, okay?
Please.
So you have Miriam. Yeah. Miriam is your best friend.
Best friend.
She cuts her own bangs.
Yes.
And she's not cut out for this life.
She's a neurotic mess. I have no idea what she was thinking about signing up for this. What is it called? Culinary School Learning Academy?
It's called the University of Cooking School Academy for Learning. That's funny.
I love it.
And I'll say this as a baseline. I think this game is funnier than Dream Daddy. I think the writing is actually better.
Okay, that's interesting. I will say another funny thing is the semester is 3 days long.
Yes.
And the whole school is 3 days long, and people cannot get over how dramatic that is.
Yes.
I love it. That is very, very funny. Especially with the one student who's there for his 3rd year. And that made me laugh really hard too.
That character whose name is Student,
yeah,
is the funniest part of this game.
Yes. Okay. I'm with you on that one.
So
sorry, keep going with your characters.
I will go through the characters and just as kind of another sort of baseline with Dream Daddy, there were a lot of decisions that would have separated our story paths. I don't think the decisions you could have made in this are going to separate our narratives that much. It seems like there is a right and a wrong. And there's like a path that you should go down.
Yes.
Otherwise, you might even get like a game over. So
yeah, there is really only one ending.
Yes.
Other than game overs.
Yes. And then there's a secret ending.
There's a secret ending. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Miriam, that's Miriam. Ashley. My note is I may be going for her. I never mind the Colonel. Ashley is she can get it.
She is an attractive woman.
Yes.
She is thick as all get out.
Yes.
And is a jerk. She's so mean to me that I fell in love with her.
Exactly.
Oh my
She's
God.
like May from Overwatch meets Morgan from Darkstalkers is like the exact image of
If
her.
you stretched May.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Which, oh boy, what
Oh my God, Mikey. Jesus Christ, this February thing has gone to your head.
I'm trying to learn what love is, Andrew.
So you're like, I want to stretch May, a video game character.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
That seems pretty loving to me.
No, does it?
Because I'm giving her the gift of me stretching her. I'm sharing with her a part of myself. Ashley
This is
also
a book of IOUs you give for Valentine's Day. IOU 1 stretching.
Speaking of I, O, and U, Ashley has too many vowels in her name.
Oh, okay. So yes, but that's also, they make an address that it's a joke immediately.
Yes, yeah.
So her name is Ashley, which is like A-E-S?
It's AESLEIGH or something like that.
And he
yeah.
makes a comment immediately saying like, or your character does saying like, I knew her when she was Ashley, A-S-H-L-E-Y.
Yeah.
And he's just added more vowels for more attention.
Yeah, and Ashley is friends with Van the Man. He's just a big burly dude with an apron that like kind of like an apron that's like a gym shirt.
Yeah.
That has like where you can see the nipples on the outside of the gym shirt.
He looks
for
like
some
he's
reason.
in Chippendales.
Yes, he does look like he's in Chippendales.
He also has a pompadour that is in the shape of a star.
Brilliant design. I loved that. Like literally like the shape of a star.
Yeah.
And there are moments like that and some of the little touches. You would think this game would be a throwaway, like not anything good. But there are some moments where I'm like, pretty good. This game made me laugh a few times out loud.
Eh?
And I thought that the character design was done with enough love that it's like clearly not just like a throwaway thing. It's still an advertisement, but I think that it had some merit to it.
We're okay with the advertising thing. We did a whole month of fast food video games.
Yes.
Like this is not new.
This is not new to us. Yeah.
We get it. We're okay with that. Yeah, I will say it was funny. The writing is definitely one of the biggest benefits of this game.
I agree. Keep
going.
How much of a game it is, though, remains to be seen.
What I was going to say.
So now you have Pop. Pop is the Jawa of human beings. He's just kind of like roaming around campus, just being a little shithead, kind of getting himself into trouble.
I can't begin to describe how much I don't like Pop.
I hate Pop.
Pop makes me very nervous.
It
makes me so uncomfortable. So Pop is a child, a large child, who is still childlike.
Yes.
So I don't say this like with any lightness or anything like that. I think he has a learning disability, and he should not be. I don't know what happened. Some cruel prank put him in culinary school. It is horrible. He's spilling on himself constantly. Yes. He seems to not know how to do basic things, and you're like, what is going on here?
He's like Ralph from The Simpsons.
Yes.
Up to 11.
But like Ralph, as he is there, but stretched him to make him a large adult, but the same brain as a child.
Yeah, it's scary.
It's not good.
It's not good. I agree. He makes me uneasy. Like,
and I think part of it,
he enters the room and I'm just like,
oh God damn
what
it!
the
He's like,
hell
hey,
is this guy?
He's got shit all over his face.
Yes,
and he's like, hey, how are you? Can I take that seat? I'm like, yeah, it's taken. Oh my God, please get away from me.
Although, oh yeah, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say is that some of the character design thing too is that, and this is more of an anime style, but the teeth makes everyone look like they're vampires.
I was going to say that about Ashley as well. She legit has like vampire teeth, but that's also kind of an anime thing sometimes. Yeah.
I get it, but you already have a large child Pop who's got stuff on, and he might be a vampire too. And I'm like, man, I can't deal with this.
The idea of a vampire giving me eternal life, is sometimes appealing to me, but not that one.
No, I don't want to be like betrothed to that person.
I don't want to be betrothed to Pop. Are you kidding me?
Are you out of your mind?
Are you out of your fucking mind?
And
I would drive a stake into my heart with a garlic tip, Andrew.
Oh, well, lots of garlic in this game. Probably one of the 11 secret spices. Herbs and spices.
Herbs and spices.
I'm going to figure that out one day. But, and then you think, Pop, a child that's an adult. Well, that's a weird character. Van the Man. Well, that's very odd. No, it gets a little stranger.
It does get a little stranger because you very soon you realize there are Clank, for example. Clank is he's a robot oven that enters the room. He's basically like if Black Noir were an oven. Everyone loves this oven. There's no reason why a sentient oven is in the room with us.
Well, yeah, but the oven was kind of like, well, downhill after that because you meet your professor on the first day.
Oh, and it's a corgi.
It's a corgi.
It's a
dog.
Corgi.
Professor Fluffy?
The dog's name is Professor Sprinkles.
I'm so sorry about that.
It's
very disrespectful.
It's also weird to me that an animal is teaching you how to cook. Like, it feels a little turncoaty. Like, You're not human. Like, what makes you better than the chicken we're eating?
Well, yes. Also because it's still very much a dog. It's kind of like Pop, where like the joke is like, well, he's not ready for this. But then you're also at like, wait, how did this happen? And the Corky or Sprinkles is the same way, where he's holding a spatula with his mouth, and then one of the questions you're asked is he a good boy?
Yes.
And you have to go, he's the best boy, and Sprinkles is like, very good, that's good. Like brown nosing is allowed now too.
That I liked that.
Oh,
and
you like that?
There's little things where it's like there's one moment in the game where Sprinkles is like, I'm sorry, something's about to happen, and he starts to get really agitated, and you have a choice. You're like, give him a treat, throw him a ball, or just wait and see what happens. And if you wait and see what happened, what did you do in that? Do you remember?
I think I gave him a treat.
If you wait and see what happens, you realize he's just chasing after a squirrel, and he's like, thank you for giving me my space and understanding that I need it. It's like very like it's like the only person who finds this absurd is you as the player of the game, which is always a fun position to be in, because absurdity is just a fun feeling to kind of stew in a little bit.
Totally. So like, okay, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to think about this game now.
So let's continue to go through
the characters.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mentioned Pop, the Jawa of human beings, who thinks every surprise quiz is about him. Clank, if Black Noir were an oven. Sprinkles is the dog on a podium who is your professor, and then Student, who is just a student, and no one remembers who this person is.
Yeah, he's like the saddest person in the world. You think that would be tough because Pop exists, but no, this person just like. Yeah, he comes in on the first day. He's like, really, you don't remember me? It's my third year.
Yeah.
And you keep getting repeated. That's only a 3-day semester, so that's very funny.
Everyone hates Student. I loved Student. Student made me laugh more than anyone else. I like turn the game on, and all I can think is I can't believe I'm committing an hour of my life to something that says presented by KFC. And this is just the baseline of what we're doing. And I'm thinking as soon as you see Colonel Sanders, because we'll get into like the structure of the game now. That I'm worried that we're getting just Dream Daddy 2.0. And it's different enough. Did you find that this game was different enough to warrant playing it after Dream Daddy?
Yeah, I think so. Like yes, but in a different way. Like this game is so much more on rails.
It is.
Like you're very much a passenger in this whole thing. And it was one of the complaints I had about Dream Daddy was I was like, you don't get to do enough stuff. But now I look back on Dream Daddy, I'm like, well, I had so much choice back then.
It's more like doubles down on the you as a passenger thing. And it did feel like that, although I enjoyed being a passenger in this because of some of the jokes a little bit more at times. So let's and here's an example. It's like when you get asked like, hey, what do you want to do? Or like, what is your choice in this scenario? Or what do you want to say to this person? There's always 3 options: indifference, completely fuck off, or be responsible. And I'm like, who isn't going to be like, there is clearly a correct answer in this. And I'd be curious to see a playthrough where you just answer the wrong thing every time.
I would also be very interested about that.
But what ends up happening at certain points is you get a game over screen in this game. So what that kind of tells me is like, there's a right way to play the game. And if you answer incorrectly too many times, it's just game over and you have to go back and answer the right one, which means you're not building a character. You're just searching for the correct answer.
Yeah.
Which is frustrating. And sometimes the answers that it gives you, it's not clear what the right one would be. You just have to guess.
Yes.
And that really frustrated me in this game sometimes.
The fact that there wasn't more of like, like if they gave you a thing of like, hey, here's your book, you got to learn it. It's a little page.
Yes.
And then the next day they ask you a quiz about it. You're like, well, at least there was something saying I should have done this.
Yes.
This is like the thinnest, straightest maze of all time.
Yes.
Where like there's just every once in a while you hit a wall with 3 doors and one of them is right. And
you just have to guess.
But it's you're going straight.
Yes.
Like there's no confusion about this.
Yeah,
you know?
it's strange. So let's go to the first day of school. You get into the classroom after talking to Miriam.
Sorry, before I even did that, I gamed over already before I got to school.
How? What?
I threw my alarm out the window. So on your first day of school, you can either hit the alarm, it's ready to go, get it up and at 'em, or you can throw your alarm out the window. You throw your alarm out the window, you miss school, and it's game over.
So this is my point, where there isn't branching storylines. There just is a correct answer, and so that's what I was curious about. I'm like, I'd be curious to see what happens if you take the shitty answer every time.
I was playing for 30 seconds.
That's disappointing because it very much means that this game is more. They want to show you everything, and you have to see it all the way they wanted to show you.
I got my back up immediately when that happened because it was like, oh no. Like I was kind of thinking the exact same thing you're saying, where I'm like, oh no, I just have to do whatever they want. Like there's no creative output.
That's a little disappointing because then you may as well just watch an anime at that point. You know,
Kind of, right?
what agency are you actually having in the game? So so first day of school, you get into class, cherry blossoms flow into the classroom.
Everywhere.
And the Colonel reveals himself. I guess Tuxedo Match bleached his clothes and learned to fry chicken. That's the if Tuxedo Mask took his eye mask off and grew the beard.
Yes,
that is exactly what this guy looks like.
100%. Yes, that's exactly what he looks like.
You're given an option to sit next to the Colonel or next to Miriam. Yes. And immediately, I'm like, that guy's my competition. I'm sitting next to my best friend, Miriam.
That's what I did.
She has my back. I have her back.
I wanted to, that's what I would have done too. I'm not gonna like sell out my friend who's having a panic attack on the first day.
100%.
Be like, I'm gonna go sit with this hunk of meat. Like, see you later. Best of luck. Like, it's just, you know, which by the way, I think the right answer was to sit next to Colonel Sanders.
Was it?
I don't know.
See, there are moments in this game where, like, there's a choice coming up later where you find out one of the secret herbs and spices. Because I was actually tickled a little bit. There's a kind of an undertone of this game, or an underlying thing is, which the objective is not just to date Colonel Sanders. It's to find out all 11 herbs and spices. You can find the secret ones, and it's like, and they don't tell you what they are. They're all like blanked out when you find them out, which is kind of neat. But you're given an option when you find one out to tell Miriam what the spice is. And in my mind, I'm like, the Colonel told this to me. I'm not going to betray the Colonel's trust and tell Miriam. So I lie. But later on in the game, it comes down to hurt me because she tries to help me cook a meal. Yeah. And because I lied to her about the spice, she gives me the wrong spice. Exactly. I have nude or something. I'm like, so what was this game wanting me to do? Yeah, like the secret herbs and spices, I should tell everyone what they are. That seems like the wrong choice to make. Also, like, it's pointing me towards Colonel Sanders often. Like, so in these little moments, you could sit next to your best friend. You can sit next to Colonel Sanders. Okay, totally fine. But it's pointing you back to Colonel Sanders constantly. So maybe you should have just gone with Colonel Sanders in the beginning. So, but that's kind of what Mikey's saying though. It's like, then all of a sudden going like, you should have betrayed his trust. It's like, whoa, wait, why? Yes, yeah. You've never said that once in this game so far yet. Like, it's strange. It's really strange. And I couldn't, what I struggled with was understanding the logic of the game. And in a game that's requiring you to make decisions based on its logic, if you can't zone in on that. Like the one element of this game that I did understand is anytime you wanted to cook for the Colonel or suggest a food to make, go like home cooking. That's always the right answer. Because there's very much a dichotomy, or like a contrast between Ashley and Van, who make like very high-end, like Michelin star style dishes, and the Colonel and yourself, who make like mashed potatoes and biscuits and gravy and stuff like that. Always go back to whatever's on the KFC menu. That's it. Yes. And every once in a while, the mashed potatoes and gravy, I was like, oh, and the coleslaw, and I'm like, oh, okay. Yes. So just keep going back to the menu. Keep going back to that. And that part makes sense. But some of the logic in terms of who you're spending time with was really hard to track in this game. You start off in the first day, there's a pop quiz, which again, Pop thinks is about him, which is really funny. What is the best food for a broken heart? Yes. Why did you shake your head there? I don't like Pop. Even him saying that joke? Didn't like it. Made me uncomfortable. Because he wasn't joking. He was like, oh, good, a quiz about me. I'm like, oh, no. Bless your soul. You know what Pop reminds me of? This is the feeling I have whenever Pop's in the room in this game. Have you ever... Baby. Worse. Okay. And I'm talking about Alec Baldwin, who killed a person. Killed a person. Took a gun, shot them. I hope he gets convicted. Pointed the gun right at the person and shot them. And we're having to make an argument that he's not guilty? Clearly he is. He killed someone with a gun. I don't care if he thought it was fake and wasn't loaded because it's someone's job not to hand him a gun with a real bullet in it. I don't care. I don't care. Exactly. Like it's like McDonald's. Like they give me like KFC, and they give me a piece of chicken. I'm assuming there's no poison in it. Yeah, you have to. That's the deal we made. But if you take that chicken and you give it to someone else and there was poison in it, right? You should go to jail. I should go to jail because why wouldn't I assume there's poison in it? You have to assume there's poison in it. If I took a chicken drumstick, and I put it in a gun and I shot that chicken and killed somebody, why wouldn't I assume that I wouldn't go to jail? Because you shot them with a poisoned chicken. That's what I'm saying. Andrew, it's so clear. Like, what? Okay, well, let's waste millions of dollars on a trial, or you can just talk to Mike and Andrew and go, case closed. Guilty. I feel like you're overselling this, Andrew. We get it. If you put a chicken in a gun and you shoot it at someone, you have a poisoned chicken in your gun and you killed them, you go to jail. It couldn't be more simple. It's so basic. Oh my God. Not Boss Baby. Pop reminds me of when Pop is in the room. It's the same feeling as when someone in the room doesn't realize it, but they have like a snot bubble.
Oh,
just the feeling of like, oh, someone deal with that
somebody
over there.
That's why I know I'm going to be childless for the rest of my life. Oh my God. Somebody deal with this. Like, it's your son. I'm like,
Someone told me this about kids.
Yeah.
They don't know how to blow their nose.
Right.
So when they have a stuffed up nose, there's something you get. It's like a straw and you have to suck.
No.
Andrew.
No.
Andrew, I'm dead serious.
Oh no.
Yes.
That made me so uncomfortable.
It made me feel like Pop. It made me feel like seeing Pop in the room.
That's what I'm saying, except he's an adult, and that bums me out.
Shoot him with a chicken gun.
Honest to God.
Put him out of his misery.
A Cluck Baldwin? I don't know. I'm going to figure it out.
What?
I'm just a chicken Alec Baldwin thing.
Why?
I don't know, because he's shooting poison chickens at people.
Alec Baldwings.
I guess we'll keep brainstorming it.
Okay.
We'll punch it up.
Okay. You said Cluck? Al Cluck?
Yeah.
Okay, that's not bad.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks. So we'll punch it up, which is different for you.
There's a pop quiz. There's a pop quiz. And the question is, what is the best food for a broken heart?
Yes.
This was the question that I got wrong on this quiz. I got every other question right. They were pretty straightforward. The correct answer is anything as long as it's made with love.
Yeah.
Hold up. You asked me for the best.
Yeah.
Best is a singular word.
Right.
So it has to be a singular thing. The best can't be anything,
right,
because then that's everything.
Mm-hmm.
My answer, which should have been the correct answer, is a pancake shaped as a smiley face.
Okay, that's what I chose.
That is the right answer.
I got 4 for 5 on this quiz.
And the Colonel still for some reason, the Colonel saw our mark.
Yeah,
and gave us a knowing nod. And
yeah, he was sitting next to you, even though you said I sat with near you.
Yes.
Which is whatever, I guess. And he's staring, he's cheating, right?
Yes.
And he's looking at your paper and he's like, nice. And you're like, I don't like this guy.
Also, here's a weird thing about this game.
Okay.
He's already...
Oh, there is one, eh? Oh, there's a weird...
And no, it's not the talking oven.
No, it's not the Corgi professor.
It's the fact that...
Or, honey, I blew up the kids with Pop, or...
The Colonel comes into the... He's already the Colonel.
So when the Corgi professor introduces him...
Yes.
They're like, oh, here's our newest student, which... Okay, also weird. Everyone's a new student. It's first day of class,
yes,
whatever. Okay. And he goes, Harland, and he goes, call me Colonel Sanders. And you're like, okay, no follow-up questions, right? The professor doesn't know, like, oh, you served? Well, thank you so much. We appreciate, you
no,
you
but
served the
everyone
country.
already knows who he is. That's the
Yes.
thing. Why is he at this school?
Okay, that kind of leads to the end a little bit, which we'll get to later because of what the end kind of entails.
Yeah.
Because it's like he's already lived a life. Like
Yes.
that's which I believe the review thing. Like he could be 50. That would make a lot of sense
Yes.
because he seems to have some kind of business acumen. He's like,
Yes.
he already has a good bit of money.
He already has a lot of franchises. He says he's opened up 99 and he needs a partner for his 100th. That's like the premise of this.
Isn't it kind of terrifying? He has 99 restaurants. He's like, you know what? I should probably go to culinary school.
Yes.
What?
Yes. He had too many poison gun shootings. Poison chicken shootings.
A Cluck Baldwin is our mascot. And I was thinking that's a bad idea. And you're thinking like, should look in the mirror, man. It's just got a thing here.
Finger Lickin Baldwin.
Do you think the rest of the cast, the rest of the thing, fingered Alec Baldwin when the police were asking? Like, who shot him? They're like, that guy. You hear the stunt coordinator.
Okay, can you pull your finger out of there and just say his name?
Please stop doing that. Stop touching me.
Can everyone stop sticking their fingers in Alec Baldwin for 4 minutes?
You can use your words.
You can.
The words are okay. Oh, it was him.
And Alex says more. And he's like, not you. Jesus Christ. Okay, so now you go to lunch and Colonel Sanders makes chicken, which you bite and it transports you through space and time.
Yes, it is so good.
It is so good that it transports you through space and time. And you focus on the flavors to try to figure out what's in it.
Yes.
Or that's the option I chose. You can get enraptured in the whole moment. I tried to focus on the flavors because again, I'm in culinary school. I want to learn.
Yes.
You figure it out, but the secret herb that you put your finger on, as though you're pointing to Alec Baldwin, is blanked out. So you don't actually know what the secret spice is, which is kind of a nice little touch. And then
I want to say just the secret 11. I think it's 11.
Yes.
Secret herbs and spices that are secret. It's always been a thing that's like on the bucket and whatever. And it sounds so like exotic and magic. Like it's just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And then really if we just read it, it would be like garlic, parsley. And you're like, oh, I guess
Cumin.
it's just, like stuff we have at home.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's so much like less exciting than like, unicorn
What
antlers.
could they add that would be surprising to us?
Like, you know what? I will say, if it's like a real thing, like it's not like Ionute or unicorn antlers or something like that. But if they were like unsweetened cocoa powder, you'd be like, whoa,
yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
Why? What do you think?
No, I don't know.
Like,
I'm asking you. You're the chef.
Okay, yeah. Oh boy. Yes, you know me, Chef Andy. Yeah, like it'd be something like that where you're like, whoa. But the problem is once you start seeing what they are, you're like, oh, they're just stuff we have at home.
Yeah, especially like maybe there's one weird one in there, but 10 out of 11 are going to be very things that are in my kitchen cabinet right now.
Like ginger, garlic. You're like, oh yeah, oregano. You're like, okay,
oregano. So then you have the option to kind of like, you keep interacting with the Colonel and there's all these opportunities to try to suss out what the other spices are. In this one, you kind of trick him into telling you the next ingredient because you're like, oh, I think I put my finger on it. And he's like, oh, is it this one? And he kind of reveals it to you.
It's just so romantic. And he just leans over and he's like, salt. And you're like, oh, yeah, I could have probably gotten that.
But your response is always like, oh, I didn't even know that's legal in all countries or something, which is like, that's a good one. I like that. That's fun writing.
Yeah. Like it's rhino horn or something. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Shark fin, something like that.
Yeah.
But this is when it's kind of revealed to you that there is a gaming element of trying to figure out all the herbs and spices. And at this point, I was in more than I was in with Dream Daddy.
Okay.
Because I didn't realize agency was going to be completely stripped for the rest of the game.
And then at that point, you just accepted it?
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Now you go to a cooking class from lunch, where you automatically choose the Colonel as your partner, which I don't like because I would have rather have chosen Miriam. I don't want to work with my competition.
I once again, do not take this lightly. Miriam is having such a tough time in her one day of class. She might kill herself in front of everybody. she might throw her head into the robot oven. And you're just like, I'm so worried about her. And they're like, hey, you're with Colonel Sanders. I'm like, I don't think she should be alone. I think I should be with her. I need to hold her hand. She's okay. I promise.
And you have to choose her partner for her.
Yeah.
Who did you choose for her? It's between Pop and Clank.
Yeah, I chose Clank.
I chose Pop.
I'm trying to get Pop away from everybody, man. Pop scares me.
But she said in like earlier on that she thought Pop was attractive. So I'm like, oh, I'll pair them up.
I also found that disgusting. And I was like, I cannot have that happen under my watch.
What happened when you paired her up with Clank? Was it like a positive thing, do you think?
Yeah, it was a positive thing. Like there was not a lot of shenanigans that came out of it, if I remember. So like, I think he either made the right choice or, to be honest, the wrong choice, because then there's no story involved with it.
Yeah. Because there was a story after I put her with Pop where they kind of have like a little romance.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Was that absent from yours?
Yeah, that's absent.
Okay.
Christ.
Yeah.
So I made the right decision.
I think so.
Wow.
Although,
Human Jawa. That is so funny.
He is the human Jawa. Yeah.
He's also got a head 4 times bigger than everyone else's.
He does.
Yeah, it is like a baby that went through the blow up process. You know what I mean?
Like Honey, I Blew Up the Baby.
You got baked. You got baked, but only half the process worked. We're just gonna make you a large child. You're like, oh, okay.
I like that. That's what you go to instead of elephantitis. He must have gotten big.
I didn't want to make it real and go like, oh yeah, like I think it's more of a sad mystic situation instead of like a horrible disease.
Also, elephantitis can't be the right word for it anymore, right?
Oh God, no. Comparing you to an elephant?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Then again, you get a nose job and it's rhinoplasty still, so.
Oh, like rhinoceros.
Yeah, I don't.
No, that's not what it is.
No, it's rhinoplasty.
No, I know, but it's not because of rhinoceros. Rhinoceros is called that because of the Latin word.
Because of Latin. Yeah. So it's got to be because of nose or something like that.
Yeah.
So like in a way, yes, it still ties back to like a hilarious.
Yeah. Well, the Latins.
Yeah. What else would be like a hilarious way of a disease being called out? I don't know. Like liposuction is like
fat straw.
Yeah. Tubbiness, something. Yeah.
you
Tubbiometry.
When you get liposuction, they put your fat in the tubby tub to store it. And then they make soap out of it and sell it back to all those rich dicks.
Chuck, here you are. I always think about an Animaniacs episode where Roger Ebert they give him like a liposuction or something like that, and they use that as like salt or butter for the popcorn, and he eats it again, and you're like, you know what? That show was very good.
Yes.
And there were so many moments that left like a very large imprint on me. That is left in on the worst possible way. Like when somebody brings up, I love you, Colonel Sanders. I'm like, oh, Pop, right? I forgot about that.
Fucking Pop. I'd like to liposuction him until he's inside out and I never have to deal with that guy again. Just take all that and shoot it into the sun so we never have to deal with it. So you're working with the Colonel here, and then Ashley steps in and tries to cut your grass. She's clearly got a crush on the Colonel as well. The music changes and it gets really fast paced, and she's talking about like a cook-off.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm in at this point.
Right.
Like I'm really into it. The Van, in order to try to help Ashley, like rushes cooking an octopus and cooks it for everyone. Student tries it and dies.
Dies.
That was so fucking funny to me. It was so funny. Pop tries it, doesn't affect him at all.
I think there's a Frankenstein quality to Pop. Like he was brought back from the dead. Some kind of monster situation.
He's just got like such a hardy constitution because he'll put anything in his mouth. Like that's the whole thing.
Hardy constitution is a great way of doing it. Yeah.
So Pop eats it. He's okay. And then as you're leaving, you know, there's this whole kerfuffle. And anytime you're fighting with someone about someone else in front of that person, it feels weird. Like I'd be like, yeah, Ashley, you go deal with the Colonel. Like the fact that you're such a Colonel stan in this game, I don't like that.
I don't like it because it's based on nothing. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, on the first day of the episode, like your first day of school, Colonel should like pull you out of like a car that was going to hit you or something like that. Sure. And then say nothing. And then you're like, man, that guy saved my life.
That guy's cool as fuck.
Yeah. Gives you a reason to do it. Whereas like Ashley, thick as all hell. And Colonel, you know, pretty handsome. And
honestly, even Van.
Yeah. Van, well, tons of muscles. Yeah. Skinny little waist. And, you know, so like Ashley's coming by and she's trying like, well, I want to be the Colonel. I'm like, well, we don't have to like make rules here. Like we can all have some fun, guys. It's 2023, baby.
It's college.
Yeah.
We got 3 days to figure this out.
Yeah. I got to experiment for 3 days until like, you know, the crushing yoke of life will just, you know, gotta open a fucking franchise.
The 100th franchise with the Colonel. So as you're leaving that day, the Colonel comes out to basically like walk you home or something. And this is when it's getting a little like lovey-dovey with the Colonel a little bit. And there's a spork monster fight. Right. All of a sudden, there was because I think it was something along the lines of you tried to fling a mashed potato at Ashley, and it missed, and then that mashed potato like gains sentience or something like that. And attacks you in the quad.
Yeah. Earlier you were asked too, what is the greatest utensil of all time? And the answer was a spork.
It was the most efficient utensil.
Oh,
and
okay.
that is correct. It's a spork.
Yeah.
With the spork monster fight, it's not as like in Dream Daddy, you have the moment where it goes to like a Pokemon battle.
Yeah.
And that was really cool and elaborate. This is basically just like a text box and you choose which one to do. It's not as the design is not as interesting as
the visual doesn't really change the you know, whatever. And there's really also, again, like at least in the Dream Daddy one, there was choice of like, you know, like changing daughters. You only have one daughter.
Right.
Like, those are kind of funny.
This is just attack and defend.
Yes.
Do you remember the order that you went in this?
Oh my God. I think it was defend, attack. No. I forget.
Could have been. I did defend, attack, defend.
Okay.
I'm always going to start with defend to like see how they go, but you do that and then you still get 1 damage. You don't have an HP pool. You don't know if that's, I'm like 1 damage. That's not bad. And then it's like, oh, it didn't really do much defending. I was like, what? That's 1 damage.
Get off my fucking back.
I can take 1 damage.
Also, do you think like Sporky, like, do you think like the Spork battle, they were like Toy Story 5? They're like, man, should we sue this? Should we sue them?
Oh man.
Like,
yes.
Yeah.
Which Toy Story was that?
Well, it's 5? The
5,
most recent
one,
right?
Yeah. With Keanu Reeves. Yeah. It was good. I liked it. The Colonel ends up coming in and wins the fight for you. Which also don't love. I wanted to be able to save I'm like, where is your self-worth in this game?
Well, yeah, and that's the thing is like, you have to value that he stepped in front of you when you didn't ask him.
I didn't ask him to.
And I also think I could have won on my own.
I would have absolutely won.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, well, I guess.
But and then it makes you like fall deeper and deeper. You pass out and the Colonel like carries you home basically. Is that what happened to you?
Yes.
Yes.
And also, no, made me uncomfortable. Didn't like that. I don't know him. And
you have a memory in your mind of the Colonel like tucking you into bed that night.
I hope 1,000 people on campus saw this man carrying an unconscious person going like, wait, do you know this person? Do you know them? Do you know them? Sir. Like, where are you going with this unconscious body?
Colonel, I recognize you from the chicken place. What are you doing on campus here?
I've been to your other 99 locations.
Yes. So then you get to the next day, and this is when Miriam comes to you and basically says that she's got an idea for what the secret recipe is, and you can either tell her the actual recipe or lie to her. Did you tell her the real one? Or
I
no?
told her the recipe.
You told her the real one?
I told her the real one.
Oh, interesting. So later, like at the very end, there's like a cook-off and she tries to come to your aid. Did that help you?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, I told her a fake one because I didn't want to betray the trust of the Colonel.
Why?
Because
why do you like the Colonel?
It's not that I like him. He told me a secret. Like him or
not
not.
Your secret to tell?
It's not my secret to tell.
Which, by the way, it makes a ton of sense when people say that. I totally get it. Still annoys me every time. It's not my secret to tell. I'm like, welcome to secrets, man. Welcome to gossip. This is what, is your first day in society? Or
what
are we doing?
Often frustrated because people won't gossip with you?
Oh, I hate that when people just like go like, it's my secret to tell. I'm like, that's just your way of saying I know something and I'm not telling you.
Yes.
Like, that fucking sucks. Just act like you have no idea what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's true too. That's true too. Because now you're making yourself seem like you're better than that person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which you probably are.
In so many ways.
Like, I can't be no argument.
No,
you probably are.
You are. But don't rub it in my face.
You don't have to remind me all the time. Like, also, I'm better than you. It's like, yeah, I know. Okay, man.
I know,
like,
we get this. Jesus Christ. So I told Miriam a fake ingredient. Colonel has taste in horses. He arrives to campus with a gorgeous horse.
Ride like the wind, bullseye.
You're a good podcast.
A gorgeous horse.
Taste in horses.
Yeah.
Makes it sound like you're questioning the validity of his chicken.
It's French cuisine.
La la.
And at class, this is a weird one because basically the way it works is throughout each day you have class, lunch, and then like a lab, basically, like a cooking class. Class, the first one being in a lunchroom. And each of those kind of gives you a decision to make or a competition or something. This one's weird because you kind of daydream a little bit because you're thinking about the Colonel. And you come to and Sprinkles, the dog, Corgi, professor. All things
and you know
are true.
that because he has glasses and wears a mortarboard. All the whole time you're like,
and stands on a podium.
Yeah. Otherwise you're like, look at this dog. Oh no, this dog is very educated.
Very educated. And don't you take that away from that dog.
100%.
You come to and the dog is holding a plate in front of you with like a biscuit, a pepper, and a glass of water. Which one did you pick? Do you remember?
Oh man, I think a glass of water.
I took the pepper, and
Yeah.
it was like, and then they got mad at me because it was so spicy, and they're like, "Well, that was the last one ever." But like, this is the point where you talked about. Here are 3 doors. You just have to like that show, Most Extreme Elimination Challenges.
Yes.
You just have to run at one of the door and hope that it's correct.
Yes.
There is no logic to why one of those would be correct and why one of them wouldn't.
And much like that show, you just run as fast as possible into that door. Like,
Headlong.
God, I hope this works.
Into the embrace of Colonel Sanders, waiting for you on the other side. So it was clearly a mistake, and I had in my notes, like, I hate that there's no way to know this. It's a guessing game, and I dislike when the only agency you have is making choices and you don't know why you're making those choices or which choices to make. That's when I started to get frustrated with the game a little bit.
Yeah, totally. I'm right there with you. I just kind of like, sometimes I'm just throwing up my hands. I'm like, well, okay. All right.
Yeah.
I guess.
At least it didn't give me a game over screen, I guess. Yeah,
not like me throwing my alarm clock out the window.
No. So now you go to lunch and there's a competition where I think the first competition is with Ashley, if I remember correctly. You're in a cook-off with her, and I was actually getting nervous because there was like a timer, and basically in order to take part in the cook-off, you have to answer questions while you're cooking. Do you remember this part?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
So it's asking you questions like, the first one is what is the boiling point of water?
Right.
And it's 100 degrees Celsius.
Yes.
And you just have to answer that. And there's a timer. So you start to like run out of time. And then the next one is how many herbs and spices are there? And I got this wrong. There's 11, but I said 6 for some reason.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And once you get enough wrong, the competition's over. And there's like this whole kerfuffle, and you like throw dough into Clank by mistake, and you're like get all up in his gears, and then you injure your hand by like, this was just absurd. And I didn't love it because it made me feel like it was an unwinnable thing unless I were just guessing correctly with some of the questions.
I also found some of it so odd that, yes, okay, this game is made by Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Mm-hmm.
I get that. But, and Colonel Sanders, who is a famous restaurateur at this point, is also your classmate.
Yes.
Okay. This is all well established. I'm totally okay with this. Then part of the questions are about him and his food.
Right.
And you're kind of like, well, I don't know.
Do you think they wrote that weird dissonance into the game as a joke? Like it may, like in my mind, maybe, but there was no self-awareness to it.
Yeah.
to tell me that like this was on purpose.
There's no consistency on like what are the answers trying to achieve. It
Yeah.
felt like you're going like heads up, 80% of the questions have to be about KFC. And
Yes.
like, okay, I guess. And they tried to figure out how to backwards work their way into those.
100%.
Because then other times it's like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Why is that there? You know, but yeah.
It was weird, and it started to like, I think this game, the best parts of this game are at the very beginning and the very end, because I liked the final cook-off scene, and but for the most part, I just found myself kind of drifting in this one a little bit.
Yep.
At this point in the game, like my notes got less, I was less interested.
Totally.
And
visually, it also is a little like it's a lot full of sameness.
yeah,
And so like after a while, you're just kind of like your eyes kind of tune out a little bit too, because you're like, oh, I've seen this, the same color palette, it's the same backgrounds, the same character cutouts, like nothing really changes.
and they didn't. I wasn't sure at this point how long the game would be in terms of like days on the quad.
Right. Well, 3 days, Mikey, obviously.
Well, they said that, but I didn't know if there was going to be like another semester or something like that, because it felt like it was moving pretty quickly. But I kept thinking, I'm like, man, I don't have that much more in me. At this point, it started to slow down my appreciation of it, for sure. From the cook-off that you have, though, you go home with Colonel Sanders. And it's an amazing home.
Yeah.
Which again makes me wonder why this guy is in a cooking class.
Is he a predator? Like, is he just going after like young students? Like,
Could be.
I don't
Although
really get
you
it.
have an opportunity to make your move, like quote unquote, make your move in this one, in this scene. And if you do, it's a game over screen.
Yeah.
So
he's a chaste man.
he's a chased man.
Yeah.
As in, I've been chasing him all over the quad. This scene was kind of fun because it's the first time it's just you and the Colonel, and you just get to talk. There's a moment where he leaves you in his place, and you get to do some snooping.
Yeah.
What was your first reaction to this?
I didn't like it. It made me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
First of all, I didn't want to be there. You know, I don't know. I just the whole story going up there. I was like, I don't know about this.
I don't like this.
I'm not so sold on the Colonel too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You want to get. We'll get to that. I want to say you want to get into the financials. Okay, that's fine. That's interesting. But my heart is a lot harder than my bank account. Yeah, I don't know. That made me uncomfortable. I'm trying to think of what I did first though. What were your options on that
So
one?
basically, he leaves you in the room, and you just see a bunch of like sparkling things, like pictures on the wall, and candles, and a safe, and all this stuff. And it's like you can do some snooping. I waited. I just sat back because I'm like, this is a trap.
Oh,
I don't want to just snoop this guy, you know?
Right.
But it turns out that I even pressed fast forward, nothing happens. So like you have to do some snooping. You can look at the picture, which shows it's the pictures on the wall, which show like the Colonel as a kid and all that stuff. Yeah. You can look at the scented candle. Yeah, there was something like a war thing. Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy because I think, once again, like I said in the beginning, I don't think he actually served.
I can't imagine this guy did. He had bone spurs, which prevented him from actually serving. Exactly. The scented candle gives you another, like you smell it and it gives you one of the herbs, which is a cool little touch. There's a safe on the wall, which just has, you open it and it just has a piece of paper and it's saying like, I can't remember exactly what it says, but it's just like a question of like how to experiment with different food. Like it's nothing really important.
Yeah.
And if you look out the window, this was actually a funny moment. If you look out the window, Student as a ghost, because Student turns into a ghost when he dies and he shows up from time to time. Yeah. He's like,
your favorite character.
Yeah, my favorite character. He's like, oh, are you staring out to avenge me? He like tries to give you a side quest and you're like, shut up. And you just like ignore him and leave. It's really funny. But at this moment, you have the opportunity to go to the Colonel and say like, I have feelings for you, or I think we should take it slow, basically. Yeah. I tried once. I made a move. He denied me. Game over. I have to start again from the quad.
Oh my God.
I'm like, well, this is so fucking stupid. Like, how am I supposed to know?
Yeah.
He invited me over to his house. Clearly, he wants to get into it. That's how it works.
That's how it works.
It's university. So I started again and took it slow, and that took us into... Do you remember which one you did?
I think I took it slow.
Yeah.
Because I also was trying to, like I said, I wasn't in.
Yeah.
I wasn't in on this.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, if take it slow is the best option I got at this point, then take it slow.
And that apparently was the right call, but there's, again, no indication why that would or would not be.
I didn't deserve that.
I'm playing this game to get it in with the Colonel.
100%, because you think that's what it's called. I love you, Colonel Sanders.
Yes, exactly.
And then you're like, hey, I love you. You're like, game over. You're like, yes. Oh, what the fuck? Like,
dude. So you go the next day. This is when I found out that Miriam was dating Pop. He took her to what he calls a shush house. And there's no explanation of what that is until later. And you're just like, a shush house? What the fuck is that? You find out it's a museum, and everyone tells him to shush because he's talking too loud in museums, so he calls them shush houses. That was kind of a funny joke.
Yeah, great, awesome. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm so out on this. I hate Pop. Pop makes me so uncomfortable.
Well,
and Miriam's attraction to him is like, what? Like, makes me think about my friend who I'm like, what's wrong with you?
You'll be happy to know that they break up that day in class, and you have to give Miriam a little pep talk.
Okay.
But now let's go to the pièce de résistance in this. It's the final cook-off, the amalgamation of everything. There are different things where you've had the opportunity to like take a like an evil book and summon demons to help you cook. Right. But it's very clear that that the Colonel doesn't like shortcuts, and it's very clear that you shouldn't take them. So I'm like, I don't know anyone who would have decided to like you get the book when you originally beat the Spork monster. But this is where kind of like all the decisions you've made come together. Yeah. If you've chosen to use the book, it would help you in this. If you chose to give Miriam the proper spices, she can help you at this because you're trying to put together like your final meal, and it's you and the Colonel against Van and Ashley, right?
Yep.
It all takes place like exactly as you would expect it. But there are some really funny moments in this where Clank all of a sudden starts speaking English and Ashley says, "It's the singularity as foretold." And so Van unplugs it because he's like self-destruct, and then Van unplugs him and just wheels him out. I'm like, this moment of chaos in the last scene kind of saved the game for me a little bit.
Okay.
Even though it was sort of on rails. You end up winning of course. The Colonel helps you out with your cooking, and that helps you beat Miriam. It's like some home country grown thing. Sorry, not Miriam, Ashley. Ashley's final meal prep is a meal that looks great, but you're not allowed to touch it.
Yes.
Which is very funny. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah. It's kind of like the character as a whole. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Finally Miriam, when Sprinkles is like giving away the graduation certificates, originally like no one's going to graduate. And then you give him your food and he likes it so much that he's like, everyone's going to graduate, including Pop, including Student. You find out Student wasn't actually dead. He was just pretending. No one remembers who he is.
Yeah.
And then Miriam says, "Yes, Chef." And then Sprinkles says, "No, Chef was my father." Because he's a dog. It's funny.
What?
It's like a dog called Chef.
Yeah, I get. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Miriam's like, "Yes, Chef." And he's like, "Chef was my father."
Right.
It's funny.
I guess.
It's funny.
Okay.
Did you not like the comedy in this game?
It was fine. Okay. I don't know. It's like someone said, like, Mr. Edwards. Like, Mr. Edwards, that's my father. You know what I mean? That joke makes a little bit of sense. Chef is like, oh, okay. I don't know. Yeah, I don't want to be a sticky mother about it, but I was kind of like the whole time like just nodding like, very good. Yes.
Okay. So it didn't really land for you that much?
No. I think the problem is that like it didn't work because the humor is just as bizarre, not even bizarre, but like whatever, like not placed in reality.
Right.
Much like the storytelling of the game.
Yeah.
And I think without the weighting of an actual story, it didn't land as much. But
and the fact that like here was the thing that was kind of rattling around in the back of my head when I was playing this game was this is a game by KFC.
Yes.
If this were a game made by like modders or something, and I would believe there were salacious things that could happen, but you knew it was going to be very sterile and cookie cutter, and it was.
It was.
Everything was expected. The only good thing you got out of it was, in my opinion, some of the jokes. Making decisions didn't do anything for me. The storyline didn't. It's incredibly forgettable, but some of the jokes were fun to me.
Fair.
But I did know that it was going to be limited in terms of how impressive it could be because it was an advertisement.
Right. Well, because it kind of comes down to like, is this a video game?
Barely,
right?
Yeah.
Like you are a participant in some capacity, which is usually what I like is the base level of video game.
Yes.
You need to be a participant in this in a process, right? You kind of are.
Yeah.
And I will say, like the story, it's way better than it needs to be. Like it's funny and whatever, and they take they take chances in what could have just been a co-branded nonsense thing. That really its only value for KFC would be that we released a video game.
Yes.
What you do with it, that's on you. I don't
Yeah.
But we did it. That's good.
Yeah.
It's better than that.
Yes. And I think it got people talking, and it probably achieved, like, put it this way, KFC releases a game that is clearly a game advertising KFC, and it's on Steam in the Steam store with a very positive rating and 11,000 reviews. That's a success.
Perfect.
Is playing it great?
Yeah.
Probably not. Would you recommend people play this game? Actually, you know what? Let's hold that a little bit
Okay.
because we'll talk about the final scene.
Sure.
It's like a dance.
Yes.
You're celebrating everyone's graduation. You find out that Pop is the son of an emperor, and that's why he's there.
Yep. Okay. There it is. That explains a lot, right?
It does. It does. Nepotism.
He's a nepo baby.
He's a nepo baby.
In more way than one, because he is still very much baby-like.
Yes.
Except your adult friend is dating him.
Well, no, they broke up.
Oh yeah, you're right. They broke up.
They broke
Sorry,
up.
yes.
They broke up.
Yes.
And you get an opportunity to like have some alone time with the Colonel. Colonel shows up in a t-shirt as opposed to like his usual like garb.
Weird.
Just like
Wouldn't
weird
it be
flex.
the opposite?
Yes.
Like he should be in t-shirt the whole time, and then all of a sudden he shows up in the
By the way, I'm
white
the Colonel.
suit, and you're
Yes.
like, whoa.
You know what would have been funny if the whole time he weren't referred to as the Colonel and he just like were in his like student clothes and he didn't have the glasses on. And then at the dance, he has an apron and he puts the glasses on and
Yes.
everyone's like, oh my God, it's Colonel Sanders.
It's reverse Superman.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that would be so
yeah,
good.
Yeah.
Or he goes by Harlan the whole time or something like that.
Yes.
And then you're in a formal thing, so he needs to wear his formal attire. And he's got like military garb. He's got his dress whites. And they're like, Colonel! Like everyone just stands to attention really quickly. Like, oh, okay, Jesus.
He goes to like salute, but his hand slips off his head because it's all greasy from the chicken.
And then he's like, I can't do that enough. The Finger Lickin Adventure.
Do you remember your interaction with him at the end? Because basically he like gave me a dance with him
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
But he told me that he respected me as a person, but not quite as a chef. And that really hurt me.
Mikey, a big theme of playing video games with Mikey is that he just really is looking for one of the characters to go like, I respect you.
That's all I want.
Yeah, and you got so close with it.
It was I thought I was getting it.
Yeah. No.
But no. Did
No.
he say the same to you or what did he say?
Yeah, no,
to you?
he did because that stood out because I was like, oh, but like I made too many mistakes, I think, in the game. And so he was like, I don't respect you as a chef.
Yes.
And you're like, oh, okay. But that didn't stop him from also offering to open the 100th location with you.
He didn't for me.
Oh, really? He offered me to become business partners.
No, I don't
And
think he did.
lovers, but yeah.
He wanted to become lovers with me, but not business partners. He's
Oh,
like,
really?
I like you as a person, but I don't respect you as a chef.
Oh, really?
I would have rather had respect than love in this.
I tried to look up afterwards, could you become business partners with them without romantically being involved?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's open-ended. I don't know.
It's open-ended. There are secret endings to this and all this stuff, but it's I don't know.
There's quite a few where you die. Like you just die throughout the game constantly. I've looked up afterwards. I'm like, so how else does this game end? And you're like, well, you can die quite a few times.
You can
You're like,
burn your eyebrows off.
Yes.
You can do all this crazy shit. And yeah, I don't like looking back on it, how much pressure the Colonel puts on you to be perfect. Because he doesn't demonstrate perfection at all.
He doesn't demonstrate shit though. Like he
Yes.
doesn't do anything. You know what I mean? You're constantly battling Miriam and Ashley and Van and stuff like that. He's not a participant in
No.
it. Like, you know, okay, go back to the beginning. And he looks at your score and he's like, nice, 4 to 5. That's pretty good. What they should have given him was like 300% or something
Yes.
like that. And
Yeah,
you're
he
like,
got 10 out of 6 or
yeah,
something.
yeah. Like
that.
I made this piece of paper and here's a meal. And you're like, whoa, my God.
So, okay, let's then get into it, Andrew. Overall impressions, start with this. Okay. Never mind Dream Daddy.
Okay.
Never mind the context of FeBOOary. Is this a game that you could recommend people check out?
No.
Okay.
I just think it's like, other than the novelty of it, I will say, saving grace, it's just over an hour long.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're saying like, you know what, you should play this game. And then like 20 hours later, they're like, that sucks.
Yes.
Like it really is.
It's not the Death Stranding thing where you're like, you got to put 10 hours in before you start to enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah. The novelty of it does carry a lot of weight.
Yes.
But ultimately, is the ending fulfilling enough or satisfying enough for you to go like, yeah, that was worth it? Nah, probably not.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I had some laughs. I legitimately did have laughs. Like I laughed out loud a couple times, including when Pop farted in the beginning. And it's like, you know what? Have a character fart. Who needs good writing? I'm into it.
Don't overthink this.
Don't overthink this. You're a chicken game. Just have someone fart,
The
please.
Professor Dog is talking to this large baby and he farts. There you go.
all you need.
Money,
baby. But ultimately, I think the game left me feeling so unsatisfied.
Yeah.
And you know, as we get older, an hour of gaming time is an hour of gaming time. I
It's
could have
an hour of
spent
your
that
life.
playing God of War. I could have spent that playing Cyberpunk 2077, which I just started playing,
Oh,
which
good
we'll
for
talk
you.
about. We'll talk about later on as well.
I have a finite number of hours left on this earth.
That's it.
And you spend one of them playing I Love You, Colonel Sanders,
Yes.
a finger licking dating adventure or whatever it's called.
The only reason that I'm okay with that is because you and I got to talk about it.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Yes. But if somebody was like in their free time going like, should I do this? I'm like, nah, probably not.
Yeah, probably not,
There's a
honestly.
thousand different ways. Okay, here's a question for you.
Okay.
did you leave this game with a better impression of KFC?
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
100%.
Me too. Yes.
This was a brilliant marketing tactic. I
agree.
fully agree with that. Again, never mind, like, first of all, they have animated KFC meals in this game, which look unbelievable.
It looks so good.
And also, like I said, Steam can be a very cynical community, but they somehow towed the line of like blatant advertisement, but so blatant that people ironically gave it positive reviews.
100%.
And that's a feather in the cap for PsyOp and for the KFC marketing team.
They both brought up KFC a lot. They made it look good, and they didn't have to take any shots against the actual product to stay kind of subversive and stuff like that. Like win-win all over the place.
100%.
You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah.
It was great. A great achievement as an advertisement, but as a game, I don't know if I would play it. Andrew, do you want to give your review out of 4 bits?
Sure, absolutely. So this game is a thing that exists, and it is made by KFC. And for not 1 second do you forget that, because anytime Colonel Sanders shows up, it's both mystifying and like you're confused why he's even a character. If he was just handsome guy, it would almost make way more sense. Yeah. Because it's just a whole thing with Colonel Sanders and the look, and we're making food that's his, but yet he's a restaurateur, yet he's learning, but he's not. Because he's also not doing the tests with us, really. I'm applying a lot of logic to a very silly game.
If he were the professor.
If you went to KFC school, and he's the professor,
that's what I thought it was going to be.
And if I had a dog classmate, that would make way more sense.
If all my classmates were dogs, and this weren't about KFC,
and I'm a dog,
and I just get to hang around and chase balls all day,
done. Colonel Sanders puppy play care place, done. Oh my God,
pop farts once or twice, easy money.
He's a TA. Like you're applying logic to a very silly game.
Yeah.
So like, but at the same time, it's very silly, and it is at times very funny. But is it worth an hour of your time? I'm not really too sure what at the end you've achieved.
Yeah.
Other than observing kind of like a half entertaining hour of your life. I'm gonna give it 2 out of 4.
2 out of 4. I thought you were gonna go lower than that.
I thought it was too, to be honest.
I think I gave Dream Daddy a 2 out of 4.
Oh wow.
Which I still stand by. This one I think was. Dream Daddy, the issue I had with Dream Daddy is that I didn't know what it thought it was. And I think as a narrative game that doesn't have a sense of like true direction, I struggled getting on board with it. KFC, at least I Love You, Colonel Sanders knows that the objective is absurdity. And that's kind of a cop-out, but that's what it is. And I'm kind of okay with flubs and missteps in that context because they're not trying too hard, and I know that they're just trying to be that like so weird that it's something sticks kind of aesthetic.
The Old Spice.
Exactly that. And I'm okay with it. It's not my favorite marketing tactic, but I understand it, and I think just as something to study for an entry into how you can market brands via video games. This is fascinating to me.
Right.
I got a couple laughs out of it.
Okay.
I'll never play it again. I wouldn't really recommend playing it for fun, but I would recommend playing it out of curiosity, if that's okay with you. Like it's only an hour long.
Sure.
But ultimately, the lack of agency and the lack of understanding of what the game was expecting out of me and the seeming randomization of results based on your choices, I'm giving this one a 2 out of 4 as well.
Okay, 2 out of 4. Oh, interesting. All right. Well, you know what? We did it. We played I Love You, Colonel Sanders.
We did play I Love You, Colonel Sanders.
We promise, we've got 1 more week left in FeBOOary. We've got a kind of an exciting game, something that's been requested a bunch of times too for the last week.
We should say what it is.
Oh, okay,
because
great.
I would love.
Nice.
So here's the game that we're playing for next week is Doki Doki Literature Club.
Yes.
Now the reason why usually we don't really show our cards and tell you what we're going to be doing week to week, but we are going to be spoiling it. Like if we're going to talk some of the different options, some of the different endings, and I'll be completely honest. I finished playing I Love You, Colonel Sanders, and I was starting to play Doki Doki Literature Club, and I'm like, this month was a mistake. I'm wasting a lot of time playing a style of game that I really don't like, and there's very little horniness in any of this shit.
Yeah, it's all very chaste, eh? Like
it is all very chaste.
Okay, sorry.
But Doki Doki Literature Club does things that are different than any other dating sim that I played. They take some risks. There's a mechanic involved that has more to do with learning the likes of your characters as opposed to like giving them the answer that you know they're going to want to hear.
Right.
So it does take a little bit more reading into it. It's more of a puzzle game, and there's some twists and turns with some of the character development.
Right.
The reason why, long-winded way of saying we're bringing this up now, I highly, highly, highly recommend beating the game before listening to the episode, because we're going to talk about all the different variations, and it's the kind of thing that works best the first time you play it because of some of the changes that happen to the story and the characters, and you don't want to ruin anything without going in. And this is coming from the perspective of someone who is basically thinking like, I'm done with dating games.
Right.
I just played a dating game that I actually found very, very good. And I would highly recommend everyone out there. It's also available for free. Right. It's about a 4-hour game. Play the game and then join us next week for our review of it.
Yo, I think that's a great idea, Mikey, because we wanted to end with the best version of it, especially coming off I Love You, Colonel Sanders.
Yes.
Maybe not the best version of it.
No.
So we wanted to talk about that and make sure that we're going off with a real bang here. But until then, did you want to talk about anything else, Mikey?
No, I think that's just about it. So far, what are your thoughts on us changing the theme of February? Are you enjoying this, or did you have a little bit of burnout by the time that you finished?
It's only an hour. As much as I was complaining about like the finite number of hours in my life, it's only an hour. So like to do that is whatever. I think the problem is that if this game was like 4 hours and I was in second hour and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I have to do this. I will say I like the theme of this month because it's playing games, kind of like you're talking about, that I would never play otherwise.
That's true.
And so like at least it's exposing myself to, and especially as we play Doki Doki next week, it's kind of exposing yourself to like the heights of it as well. Because this one was so quick when we said we were doing this month. Yeah. Everyone mentioned Doki Doki Literature Club. So at least we get to try kind of the best versions of it, some of the fun stuff. So I'm really excited to be playing that game next week.
100%. And we will see everyone next week. And hopefully you can at least play some of it and join us along for the conversation.
Well, we love every single one of you, and we can't wait to talk to you soon. My name is Andrew Bascom. With me as always is the bad boy of podcasting, Mr. Bebop himself,
Mikey Aaronworth.
This is the Retrograde Podcast.
Game over. Pop, get the fuck out of here, Pop. I've had enough of your guff.
It's going to be like an It Follows situation where Pop is always coming after me for the rest of my life.
Furnished by Sad Styles Productions.
He respected me as a person, but not quite as a chef.